Gregor, thank you for joining us. Obviously, your role here at the football club is our sporting director. Just want to sit down with you and discuss a few different topics. We'll start with the news of Thelo Aasgaard, obviously moving on this week to Luton Town. Naturally, supporters will be disappointed to lose Thelo and a player of his quality, but can you just explain kind of maybe the history of that and the context as to Thelo's background and why he did move on this week?
Yeah, I think it's important for everybody to realise and know that Thelo, along with a number of other players, could have left our football club 18 months ago on a free transfer. There was continual breach of contracts, which enabled the players to exercise their rights to serve their notice. And we were very fortunate that with Thelo and along with Charlie, that we were able to convince them to stay once the new ownership was in place. We, as an ownership group and us as the technical staff, made a commitment to more stability amongst the football club and the playing squad. And we were delighted that both he and Charlie at the time signed new contracts rather than leave on a free transfer. And they signed long-term contracts to enable them to grow within our football club, and we knew at some stage that they would eventually either take us to the next level or maybe outgrow us and beat us there. Within that, there was certain agreements, but we have protected ourselves as a football club, and we have managed to receive significant return on both Thelo and Charlie. But what I would say on Thelo and Charlie before him, they represented the football club unbelievably well. They're role models for future academy graduates. We're really proud of them, and every time they took the field in a Wigan Athletics shirt, they gave their 100%.
I think you alluded to it there. Firstly, obviously, we must thank them both for sticking by the football club in such difficult times, but as I said, you alluded to it there a little bit. Appreciate legality of contracts. You know, we can't be as specific as maybe we would like, but if they do go on to even bigger and better things in the future, you're confident the club has protected ourselves and their development moving forward?
Yeah, and that was already in place when we agreed a new contract with them 18 months ago, that if ever they left as part of that agreement, we would end up with future payments. And I think if they get to where we believe they're going to get to, and I think they'll surge again, and I think they'll go on to another level again, that we will be well rewarded in that aspect. So yeah, we have definitely done that from the outset. And as I say, you know, to be able to get 18 months of Thelo Aasgaard playing in our blue and white shirt, and to get 12 months of Charlie Hughes, I think the most disappointing thing from an academy perspective is when they go too soon. We've had too many go too soon for different circumstances, and as much as it was within our control to a certain level, we were delighted that they were able to show what they could do for our supporters.
I think the biggest question on the lips of many fans now moving forward is can this happen again, whereby we potentially lose more prized assets in the future? Can you categorically answer that one?
Yeah, I can. And of course, with the two lads in question, we've kept it as quiet as possible. We didn't really want to shout from the rooftops because we've enjoyed watching them play for our football club, and we don't want to lose our best players. But now that's the last of the legacy that was left behind from the previous ownership, and we're now in full control of our playing squad.
Clearly, Gregor, the timing of the announcement yesterday evening on the back of a defeat wasn't ideal. But again, could you just explain maybe the club thinking around that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we would wanted to announce Thelo before kick-off. I think it had leaked across socials earlier on in the day, and obviously when he wasn't named on the team sheet, we thought it was only fair that the supporters knew why. However, his medical wasn't complete by the time of kick-off, so rather than wait until this morning, we just felt that it was best to do it after the game. And once everything was done, Sean's going to get asked after the game about Thelo's absence, and rather than try and cover and wait for a deadline of the following morning. We just felt it was best to get it out in the open after the game, but not ideal. We were disappointed with the result last night, and having the news of Thelo was a bit of a double blow in that respects. But yeah, we do our best, and we try and give our supporters the information as quickly as possible.
But on a positive, you know, Thelo, Charlie, huge success stories for the Heatable Academy, and credit to the first team coach staff as well in terms of the development that they've made and worked with the players over recent years to put them in a position where they are today.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before, that the two lads are great role models for our future academy graduates. They've been an absolute credit to our football club, to our academy. The academy staff, previous and present, have worked extremely hard with the two boys and with the current lads that we've got within our academy, and they've flourished not only into fantastic footballers but into fantastic young men as well.
So moving forward, it's been a productive window so far. Looking at the incomings, we've had 5 players brought in, 3 on a permanent deal, and we must pay credit to the ownership group who have backed yourself, you know, Sean, the technical staff, to enable us to bring in those permanent deals. Yeah,
absolutely, and we've been determined to bring more permanent signings into our squad in this window. We have to remember that we've only been able to purchase players again since the summer. So when you're identifying and searching for players, it does take a little bit of time. You've got to make sure that they're the right ones, and now we are able to purchase players. It makes a different platform for us, whereas before it was loans and frees when we were under the transfer embargo. So we just 1 or 2 more loans than we ordinarily would have liked when we were starting out our plan in the summer. But the lads acquitted themselves well, and we've been able to purchase more permanent transfers. And yeah, I think bringing players in who have to fight for their place, fight for the shirt, bringing players in where the club means something to them and they have to do that a little bit more. I think that's really important.
You talked about the word plan there, planning. I think that's key, and I think Sean alluded to it on Tuesday night. Has there always been a plan in place to potentially look at bringing someone in to replace Thelo, and inevitably when that happened, you always had a succession plan in mind?
Yeah, absolutely, and we've already actioned that, and we're looking to put a replacement in place very quickly. We've engaged with the club, and hopefully we'll be able to make a sign. Of course, there's a lot that takes place, whether it be agreement in transfer fees, agreement with medicals, players passing the medical and personal terms. So a lot to be put in place, but we were already aware, and even from the day that the boys signed the contract, we knew that we'd have the succession plan. So we've been doing that from the outset. We did that with Charlie Hughes. You know, we did that very, very quickly. When Charlie went, we brought in a couple of centre-backs, albeit one's playing in a slightly different position at the moment. Yeah, that's certainly in place, and we'll be looking to improve the squad.
There's obviously been a number of player sales in the summer and in January, and from an ownership point of view, they've done a fantastic job to get that debt that they inherited when they came into the football club down to a sustainable level. But from a fan's point of view and a fan's perspective moving forward, is it important that that money that we've brought in is invested not only in the playing squad in terms of future windows, but the infrastructure of the football club as a whole, the stadium, the training ground, etc.? Is that part of the plan moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it has to be. I think from any football club, when you manage to generate some income, it's got to be distributed across different areas of the football club. From my perspective, you look at the playing budget, and we already have a top half playing budget, and we need to make sure that we bring the team up in the league to match that, first and foremost, with bringing players in and improving performances and results to do that. Secondly, we've been made a commitment already to improve that budget again next season, which will probably take us into a top 10, maybe even better budget. And I think the key message is patience. We've got to align across supporters, players, staff. We've got to align and be patient, and we've got to move together to enable progress. And I think that's what the key message for us is. We have to have progress at the football club in all aspects. but it does take time. You have to remember our ownership has only been in situ for 18 months, and there's been a huge rebuild, and now I feel that we are working towards that progress, towards the common goal.
You touched on it there. I think patience, you're right, is the key word, and perhaps in previous years we've maybe as a football club not had that patience, and we all know where that led us to. So, but from a fan's point of view, we obviously want this stadium as busy as possible on a match day. Do we as a club need to incentivise that more in terms of both the quality and the performances on the field, and the playing squad as a whole? And is that, as sporting director and as a performance department, is that the kind of the key aim now over the rest of the season into future windows and beyond? Yeah,
definitely, because supporters want to be entertained. So again, from our perspective, we've got to make sure that we add and improve to our squad. Everybody behind the scenes is behind that. And secondly, make the game as attractive and exciting as possible, so that supporters want to come again. We've got to put more bums on seats, that is for sure, because that will improve everything. Whether you mentioned there before, the training ground, the additions to the squad, etc. So it all works in alignment, and yeah, it's something that we need to incentivise our supporters with more.